Hello kids, this is our video on percent change. Kind of excited that the Pink Panther theme is actually what came up on my music for my study Apple Radio, study something. I love this song. And I also think Cookie Monster is pretty awesome. 99% of the cookies are eaten by 1% of the monsters. Which isn't actually a percent change meme, it's just awesome. It was the first one that I saw that I really liked when I typed in percent and meme. So there you go. So we're looking at percent change. Is it an increase or a decrease? And what percentage did it increase or decrease by? That's how we do these. So let's start with definition. Actually, I lied. Let's start with an example. Victoria went to Circuit City last year to see how much laptops cost. And she found one she liked for $699.99. This past weekend, she went and looked at the same laptop, and now it's only $599.99. So the first question is, how much did the laptop, about how much did the laptop decrease? So in terms of the price of the laptop, how much did it decrease? It went down $100. $100. Because that's the difference between $699 and $599.99. What was the percent of the decrease? So what this is asking is $100, the amount of the decrease, is what percent of the original cost, which is the $699.99. Oh, I forgot a 9. Wow, that's messy. Let's fix that. 99. Okay. So, 100 is what percent of $699.99? Well, in this case, I can go ahead and write my proportion. 100. Remember the difference between percent and dollar amount. In our proportions, for percent proportions, the 100 goes at the bottom right. The percent goes at the top right. So in this case, we have an X because we have the words what percent. And then 100 is the change and the original amount over here. So this is the percentage and this is the whole thing or the base amount. And so I'm going to solve that proportion. Now I'm not going to go through solving a proportion again because you guys are getting pretty comfortable with that. But I am going to go ahead and tell you that when we cross multiply and then solve, you end up with an X value of approximately, because I do have to round it off, 14.3. So the change in the amount in the cost of the laptop is 14.3%. Now I had to write a what is blank percent of blank phrase for that. Instead of having to write that, is there a way to do this where it's set up already, where I can use a format or a pattern? Of course there is. Let Miss LeCompte show you. For percent change, you're going to write a proportion where the bottom right is still the 100. Let's change colors so you can see that a bit better. Let's try the red one. The bottom right is still the 100. The top right is still the percent, but in this case, it's the percent of the change. So it's still a percent number. The amount of the change goes at the top left. That's your percentage. And the original amount, whatever the original was. So if you go back in time, what they told you the amount was, whether it's a cost of something, a person's weight, gosh, I can't think of what any of these other examples are. But generally they have to do with the cost of something. The person's weight would be, if you gained or lost weight. All right, so a retailer, let's try this problem. A retailer increased the price of a gel pen from 40 cents to 45 cents. What was the percent of increase? So in these problems, you got to figure out a couple of things. First of all, you have to determine what's your original amount. So in this case, which one's the original amount? It's the 40 cents. They increased the price from 40 cents, so it used to be 40 cents, so that must be the original. What's the new? Well, in this case, it's 45 cents. 45 cents. I tried to say 5 and it just blanked out on me. And now you want the amount of the change. So the amount of the change, in this case, is 5 cents. Before I write the proportion, I want you to indicate for yourself on the paper if it's an increase or a decrease. In this case, the price went up, so this is an increase. Okay, so the amount of the change is 0.05. I'm going to leave off the dollar amount, the dollar signs, guys. You don't need them in a proportion. The original amount is 40 cents. I don't know the percent, and this is always the number 100. It's totally playing the NFL theme song on the study radio station, by the way, if you can't hear it. Cross multiply and solve. When I cross multiply in this case, 5 cents times 100 just gives me 5. I know that seems counterintuitive, but think about what happens when you multiply by 100. You just move that decimal point 2 spaces. So when I multiply this, I get 5. And over here, I get 0.4x. Divide on both sides. 5 divided by 0.4 is 12.5. So the percent of increase in this particular situation is 12.5%. Now the retailer jacked up the price 12.5% on the gel pens. All right, next question. All right, so on this one, Jalen bought a pair of running shoes on sale for $35. The original cost was $65. What was the percent of decrease? Well, that's nice. We don't have to figure out which one it is. We already know it's a decrease. So I'll go ahead and write that down. Okay, so Jalen bought a pair of running shoes on sale for $35. So that's the new amount because they were on sale and it was the later thing that happened. The original is $65. So now I need the amount of change. The amount of the change. And I know I probably did that slightly out of order, but it really truly doesn't matter, guys. So that's going to be original minus new. And that comes out to be 30. Now you write your proportion. Change over original equals percent over 100, solve. When you cross multiply and solve for this one, you have 30 times 100, so 3,000 equals 65x. And when you divide both sides by 65, you have x is approximately equal to 46.2%. So it's almost half off. Okay, almost half off. So what was the percent of decrease? 42.6%. I think you're probably getting the hang of it. Do one more with me and then you're going to try a couple on your own. The original selling price of a DVD should be of a DVD box set was $65. Due to demand, the price was increased to $87.75. I have actually seen that happen on Amazon while I was in my Amazon cart trying to buy something, where the price actually changed while I was in that cart. Anyway, what was the percent of increase in the price? So again, we already know that it's an increase. So we want to identify, so we have original. This time the original was 65. Read the problem carefully. The new is 87.75, and we know this is an increase. What's the amount of the change? Well, the amount of change is 87.75 minus $65. That comes out to be 22.25, I think. Nope, I'm wrong. It's 22.75. And it won't let me erase. Gonna have to scribble. Sorry. I promise I'm not being lazy. I just couldn't erase it. Once you switch tools, it won't let you go back. All right, so amount of the change over original amount, which is 65. Gosh, they really jacked up the price on this particular DVD box set. I wonder if it really was House. Oh, look. I'm picking his nose with the arrow. All right, cross multiply and solve 65x equals, remember when you multiply by 100, keep it simple, move a decimal point 2 places over. So 2275 or 2,275 divided by 65 comes out to 35. They jacked the price up on that item by 35%. Must have been really popular. All right, moving on to the next problem. I would like you to pause the video and try it when you get to it. And then you can press play again and I'll show you how to do it. So before we do that, let's remind you how to do it here. First, you got to identify your original and your new values. Write it down, children. Don't be lazy. This is not about wanting to write less, like, I don't need to write it. Well, fine. Not yet, but when you're taking notes, you sure do. Once you have the numbers, put them into the formula. then you're going to find your answer. So you need to identify original, new, and amount of change. I don't know why I didn't put that on there. Sorry about that. Identify those 3 things, put them in your formula, find your answer. Now, you, math problems, do your magic. All right, a pair of jeans was originally priced at $48.50, and it was marked down to $38.80. What was the percent of decrease? So, try it, please. And pause it, because I'm going to go ahead and write it out while it's paused, and it's going to just pop right in. So here it comes. You better hurry up and pause it before you see the answer. Here you go. And there's your proportion. So the original amount was $48.50. Pair of jeans, $48.50. First of all, I would never spend that kind of money on a pair of jeans, just to make sure that's clear. But I'm probably pretty cheap. The new amount was $38.80, so they went down a little. What was the percent of decrease? We know it's a decrease. The amount of change was $48.50 minus the $38.80. We get $9.70, and that goes down, so it's a decrease. Down $9.70. Cross multiply and solve. So you have $9.70 times 100 is 970. 48.50 times x is 48.5x. Notice I can drop the 0 there because it doesn't change anything. Divide. And let me just confirm my answer one more time because I really don't like making mistakes in these videos. 970 divided by 48.5, 20. So it's a 20% decrease. There's your answer. So if that's what you got, you did a great job. Moving on. All right, Toby was 121 pounds. A month later, he was 112 pounds. Toby is shedding some pounds. He's losing weight. What was the percent of change? All right, guys. Pause it. Try it. Hurry up and pause it. All right. Too late. Here it comes. So, this time I went all the way to the end. You needed your original amount, your new amount. It's a decrease because it didn't tell me this time. We know it's a decrease because Toby, a month later, was lighter than he was at the beginning. The amount of change is 9. So, amount of change over original, x over 100. Cross multiply, solve. You had to round it off, so notice the squiggly equals or bacon equals approximately 7.4%. And again, that's a decrease, down 7.4%. You might actually even say that that's a negative, let me get the pen tool, negative 7.4% change because it goes down. One more problem in this video, guys. A company started up with 4 employees. Within 5 years, they had expanded and had 39 employees. So notice that we're talking about number of employees here. That 5 years is a distractor. What's the percent of change? Pause it, try it. This one might seem baffling, but look at the difference. They dramatically increased their number of employees. So yes, your answer might look a little strange, but it's probably right. Okay, you try it. No, you pause it. Hurry up and pause. All right, too late. Here it comes. Okay, so original, 4. They originally had 4 employees. Now they have 39. That's a huge change. It's a huge, what kind of change? It's a huge increase. To find the amount of the change, take new minus original. 39 minus 4, 35. You are still going to put the change on the top and the original on the bottom, even though the numbers seem backwards to you. If it's a huge increase, you could have a percent that's bigger than 100. Please excuse me. Let's cross multiply and solve and finish this up. 4x equals 35 times 100, which is 3,500. And when you divide 3,500 divided by 4, you're going to get 875. And yes, that is the answer. This company grew so fast, they had an 875% increase in their number of employees. That's the kind of thing you would use to tell investors, you know you want to invest in my company. Look how fast we're growing. But yes, that is correct mathematically. Think about it like this. If you double, you've gone up 100%, and so on and so forth. All right, guys. Percent change is not too hard if you know how to do it. See you in class.